All right, so we're talking about hip extension exercises. The last video we talked about in this exercise science lab series is mobilizing the front of the hip so we can get into hip extension. All right, so now we have the mobility. Ideally, we've stretched this out. Now we're looking for the strength in order to what we call a hip drive or hip extension, right? So anytime I'm gonna pick something up, I'm gonna take a step, I'm gonna jump, whatever it is, I need this hip drive, I need this hip strength. So you may go to a therapist, a PT, you may just read this in a book, you may be trying to firm up your glutes, to jump higher. You need some effective, strong hip extension. So what we do is work on bridges. So we do bridges for a number of reasons, some sort of hip thrust. All right, a couple cues that we talked about that your therapist may have used. Maybe this is a reminder, or maybe you're not feeling, maybe you're not feeling the correct muscle, maybe your hamstrings are cramping, your calves are cramping. Here's a couple things to think about, all right? So we call this a supine, laying on your back, bridge, or hip thrust, all right? So one thing we would do is press your heels into the floor. Now, we do not want to press through our heels when we're squatting and deadlifting. The reason we use this cue is because oftentimes people are on the balls of their feet. They're forward on their knees, they're bending forward, they're on their toes, and we want to pull them back off of their toes. So we tell them, press through your heels and you'll feel your glutes more. Toes kind of equal knees, heels equal hips. That's fine. What we want to find is the midfoot, ideally, where we're using a balance of our hip muscles and our knee muscles, if you will, right? So we're using our glutes, our hamstrings, our quads, everything. But on this one, I can really press through my heels. So in this position, what I want to do is contract and press my right heel into the floor, contract my right glute, press my left heel into the floor, really drive it down, contract my left glute, and then I can maintain both. All right, so that's one cue. Drive through your heels to really feel your glutes engage. Another one would be to tuck my tail a little bit. All right, what that's going to do is that's going to tuck my tail, the insertion, or rather the origin of my hamstrings, right? My semitendinosus, my semimembranosus, my biceps femoris, my ischial tuberosity. It's on the bottom of my pelvis, my sit bones. So if I tuck my tail a little bit, I'm going to shorten my hamstring a little bit, put a little slack in the system, right? We understand the force-length relationship is going to minimize, or it's going to, reduce the amount of contraction and may emphasize my glutes more. So whether I want to push through my heels still or not, but a lot of PTs, especially these days, will say tuck your tail, then pull up into your hip thrust or your supine bridge. All right, tuck your tail and then bridge. If you can maintain that tuck, you can do a few bridges in a row. All right, press through your heels, tuck your tail. Last one is, if my hamstrings are cramping especially, I'll use this one. I push my hips or my feet forward, all right, as if I'm extending my knee this way, but my feet don't move. So if I have shoes on, I can feel my feet press forward in my shoes. So what I'm doing essentially is engaging my quadriceps, and then I'm bridging up. So I can tuck my tail, press forward in my shoes, and bridge up. And what I'm doing is engaging my quadriceps. You can't really contract isotonically anyway, your quads and your hamstrings. So what happens is I contract my quads, which helps relax my hamstrings. Then I push up, again, putting emphasis on your glutes. All right, so those are the three main coaching cues that you can use with your patients and your clients that we talked about in the lab in order to get a better, more effective, let's say, glute engaging hip bridge or supine bridge. Now, having said all this, nothing matters. We try to isolate these muscles only to integrate them back into the global total body pattern, right? We hear too much about glutes and wake up your glutes and engage your glutes and activate your glutes and strengthen your glutes. It's fine, but it only matters if it can then work with your hamstrings, your lower back, your rectus spine, your quads, everything else. It's all part of this big kinetic chain when we're squatting and picking things up, all right? So there are your cues. Check those out. I think we should be good with that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right, let's do some Turkish crunches. I'll see you next time.